back, shop rats. Today here in the shop we are not working on these cars, but we are working on floor pans on the Stitches Challenger. So here we are, I'm gonna go back at it again, gonna share some tips and some techniques and some things that you can apply directly to whatever project you're working on. It doesn't have to be a Challenger, it doesn't even have to be a Mopar. Hopefully there's something here you can take away and apply to what you're working on. All right, now we could keep talking about it or we could just do it. So let's just do it. I'm Mike and this is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
In our last several episodes, we have made 5 pieces of floor pan, and we are fixing to get ready to start making this next piece here. And I think we're going to make this probably in 3 pieces. I think that makes the most sense. Maybe 2. I don't know, probably 3, because we have a hump up there, we have a bead rolled part here, and then we have another bead rolled part up here that joins into the firewall. And I think it just makes sense to go ahead and make that in 3 pieces. I've thought a lot about it for the last week since I haven't been able to be out here, and I think that's what makes the most sense. So that's what we're going to do. Before we cut anything out, as always, we go ahead and make our pieces in our templates, cut out what we're replacing. We always leave the old metal. This is why we don't media blast stuff, because when you're fabricating, you gotta have something to go by. If you want to spend the big bucks and go out and buy parts, that's fine. That's not what we do here for the most part, at least not on this project. So, all right, let's get after it. So we've laid out a piece that's 13 this way and gonna cut it off at 26. This is longer than 26, but I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off so I don't end up with a bunch of jagged pieces everywhere. So we'll get this piece cut up, and that's gonna be the first piece of that front floor pan that we're gonna make, because it's got all kinds of bends in it. So that's about where it's going to go. It needs to start with a close to a 90-degree bend here, and then all kinds of magic contours all the way over. So we've got there. We need a there, there, and here. We need to go whack down like that. So fairly complex piece. Nice thing is the cross member's right under here and the frame is right here, so some of this will kind of naturally fall into place. But I think the place to start is to put a 90-degree on the end, and then to start working our way in. We'll get the 90 cut here, or 90 bent here, and I think we'll take and cut in this way so that we can bend this up. Well, let's just show you. So we got our first bend made, and now we got to bend that degree down. So this thing's a little too close to the wall, so we'll try to pinch our fingers. Okay, should give us enough room. Get this clamped down where we want it. Okay. Good, and this is just a guess. It's gonna be close enough. So now we've got our piece like that. I'm quite sure that's bent too much, but that's okay. It'll be easy enough to go and straighten that out a little bit. Okay, a little trick here. This is about 2 3/8 where it needs to go next, but I don't want a sharp bend on this. And there's other ways this could be done, but this is the way I'm going to do it. I think I can do it. I'd like to turn the metal around, but that ain't going to work. So let's just get this close. Put this down. And then rather than using the brake, I'm just going to kind of bend it by hand, get it part way, loosen it, come out about, oh, I don't know, 1/4 inch-ish. So the goal is to get this parallel to this, and I think we've accomplished that. Our angle here is a little bit much, but you can see how we're getting now. So we'll go try that in the car, see how it comes out. And this is no surprise. This tends to walk that way, probably about, I don't know, 1/2 inch or 1 inch. But we'll get that taken care of here in a few minutes. Right now what I want to do is go ahead and figure out where I want to cut in here to get this to bend this way. And I think the place I'm going to start is just by coming in here. Well, let me think on this a minute. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll come in here. I'll measure out the distance from there to there on that end so I know how much I need to come this way, so that we have, and then we'll allow a little extra. And even though we're going to be way up in here like this, I left plenty of material because we have, this is where our next piece starts, about right there. So you can see how much overlap I had by going 13.5. The piece was actually about 12. So allow plenty of material. Metal is expensive, but it ain't that expensive. So we'll measure that distance down there, and that will determine where we need to bend this, and well, but just figure that all out. So I've kind of laid it out. I'm just sticking this between these pieces of plate that I have here on the welding bench. And I've marked down here, it's at a little bit of a taper. It's not going to be perfect, but it gets us started. So okay, that should get us in the ballpark. So I think I'll do this with a hand tool, since I can't do it in the brake. There's not enough room, but that's a start. Apologize, I got caught up in what I was doing. I forgot to turn the camera on. So what I've done is I've taken one of my tire irons and just clamped it in the vise, and then just put a couple of clamps on here, and then just and kind of bend it over like that. I think that's going to be pretty close. So, like so. Yeah, it's pretty good. A little bit wavy, but who cares? It'll get pounded into place anyway. And we still need to do another thing on the top of this. Hopefully we can do that in the bead roller. All right, I'm pretty pleased with that. So now we're going to come in here and we're going to cut it here so that we can form what needs to be formed to bring it around to match down here with this one. We probably have way too much material, but that's okay. I would rather have too much than not enough. Too much is not enough. No, that's wrong. Never mind. Okay, so I made a slice up there where the floor starts to angle back up and follow the hoop of the transmission torsion bar cross member. And we made a cut here. And then I went in and I put some marks in there so I kind of know, sort of, kind of, where to put this bead that comes over. Now I'm going to wing it a little bit here. I'm not going to get real carried away with trying to make it perfect, but I think this is going to work okay. So got some ideas on how I want to make that. I'm not 100% sure, but let's get it over to the bench and see what we can come up with. Again, I apologize. I got so caught up in figuring out how I was going to do it that I forgot to show you. So what I did was, because it's an angled thing like this, I ended up just putting it in the vise, locking it down and bending it by hand. And then I just followed the line which is on the other side, did the same thing, like so. Okay? So we've got ourselves a nice little sort of, and now I've lined out where I need to go and bend it down next. So now I got to figure that one out. I think I'm going to draw the line all the way across. This is a little fat, but I know where it needs to be. And then just put it in here and just, I should be able to, nope, I'm not going to be able to. So I got to find a couple pieces of metal to put in here so that I can line this up, and then I'll bend it over to the 45 that it needs to be, just hammering it. But the reason I didn't do that this way was because I wanted it to be a little more of a gradual curve to follow kind of the contour that's in that floor. So I just kind of did it, kind of a rough redneck way to do it, but it worked. Okay, I changed my mind as usual. I've got a piece of small light rail here that is real good, and it's got a nice edge on it. So we're just gonna kind of do this by hand this way. Kind of get it lined up where I want it. I'll just start. And the interesting thing is once you kind of get both ends bent, then the middle will go rather easy. Because you're just creating a little channel for it to sit in. Of course, you got to be real careful not to drop that on your feet, because that could hurt. Okay, I bent a little far here, but that's okay for now. So yeah, it's not quite the profile that I want here, but I think we'll be able to straighten that out once it's in. I marked out now here where I'm going to cut that off, and I'm just going to use a pair of probably left-handed, the green ones, and cut that off and peel that edge off so that it fits in there better, and then this floor pan will start to fit down in the way it's supposed to. This is what I need. All right, so here's what we got so far. Our piece that we made here is starting to fit nicely with this piece that we're making here. Our slope in the floor is more back in here, so we may have to do a little jockey cutting in there, but I'm not worried about that. But we're getting close. It fits around in here now. And this is why I didn't join this piece, because I felt like, I didn't put this in the car yet, because I felt like I wanted these two pieces here to be kind of put together. And that just kind of continues on up. This needs a little tweaking back here, but it's close. So little by little. So I got to kind of regroup here for a minute and determine what's next. So I've had to do some cogitating here and figuring and just stuff. I kind of am liking the way this is coming. It's got to be a little over this way, but it's looking good. But I got this thing over here I got to deal with, and so I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this like this here, because we have this that needs to be in here, and I think if I make this next piece here to include that, that will be easier. So that's what I'm planning to do at this point. Don't think I'm going to need to leave any extra material there. I think we'll be okay. And we've got to come back on the back side here and cut this back from there to there so that I can bend this right here. So a lot of cogitating and calculating, and there was maths and stuff, you know, just I don't know, it's just stuff. One of the things that I know about fabricating, at least the way that I do it, is the more experience you get, the less scrap metal you make. And so far on this project, I don't think I've had to throw anything away that I've made and start over again. This may be the first piece. Every piece is a gamble, because the reality is on every project you're making different patches, you're making different pieces. Every contour is different. I mean, if I've done a ton of A-bodies, but even then I've not done a ton of the same kinds of patches and things like that. So everyone is a learning experience, everyone is a risk that you may end up having to redo it. But the nice thing about metal is, even if you do screw up, you can just cut it again and keep cutting it until it's still too short, or you can weld on a piece and just, you know, fix it. So most of the time that's what I end up doing, but we're gonna go ahead and get this cut out and also then make our cut up this way so we can get this bend where it's actually supposed to be. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Things are kind of falling into place pretty well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tack weld this piece to that piece so that this two pieces are now going to be one piece. So you're kind of starting to probably hit what I'm pitching here, why I didn't attach that piece in the last episode. Because all of this has got to kind of stack up here now. And this was different because I was going up against that subframe connector. And so yeah, we're going to tack this up in place here. Just want to get a couple of clecos in to make sure everything is lined up exactly where I want it to be. And then we're going to go ahead and spot weld that to this and make sure that everything up in here is lining up the way it should now. But it's close, but it's hard to push all of this in place. Then after that's done, we'll do an outline and we'll cut out the bad metal here and make room to get it right down in place and follow the contour of both the frame rail and the torsion bar cross member. All right, so we got just 4 tack welds because I got to kind of tink stuff together there. But hopefully we can take out all of these clecos and then put it all back in there and it will fit. But what I want to do is, rather than doing a paint outline, I'm going to clean this up a little bit here and do a marker outline so I get a little bit better cut on this. I feel like I want a little more accuracy. And then we'll get this piece cut out. I do have to do some trimming in here to get this to lay down where it needs to be. Just need to do a little V-cut in here. That's no big deal. But we're making progress. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way this is turning out so far. I think it's going to slowly come together here. Well, it is already slowly coming together. I mean, think about this. Was a big rust hole all the way up. And now we have less of a rust hole. And I can't say it enough that as we look at all of this, people wonder, how do you do it? Well, it's easy. As I've said so many times, you just cut out everything that doesn't look like a car and replace it with stuff that does. It's not rocket science. We kind of got it cleaned up just a little bit, sort of, kind of. And start rolling this back in here. Start lining our clecos back up. Okay, so we got a little contour here, there, and then of course right there was our nice cut line. And you'll notice how we turned out pretty nice on that edge. It's just a little bit beyond, and that's okay. That'll give me the opportunity up there to just kind of roll that edge just a little teeny bit. But yeah, I think we're ready to go ahead and cut and peel this out. So let's just do it. Do it now. The sense of satisfaction that I get over making a piece like this is pretty significant. I really enjoy this. You can see how things are just kind of fitting together nicely there. Yeah, so let's go cut out the old floor and make room for this next piece to go in. See, it's all cleared out. Now we're going to be able to rebuild that torsion bar cross member very easily now, and everything is looking good. So yeah, I'm really happy with that, and we'll test fit that piece of floor, but another step closer. So I can fabricate that piece, or I just happen to have this one out of an A body that I probably can make work. But I haven't really spent any time looking at it yet, so we'll see. Dunno. But just going to have to wing it. But I do have the cross member pieces now as far as what bolts in there, so I know my spacing on my bolt holes and all of that stuff. So we should be able to make something work and turn out something fairly respectable. I think we're probably getting to that point where that's going to have to happen pretty soon. It's definitely I want it to happen before we put this floor pan in, and we obviously have to have that done before we put the tunnel in. So I think the E-body tunnel may be just a little bit wider, but I mean, at the end of the day, what has to fit through there, same 727, 3-speed, 4-speed as is in any other Mopar. There's nothing different about this transmission than an A body, a B body, anything. So that's cool. So we can probably make this work. We'll see. Let's take it out of the way here so you guys can get a picture of what things are starting to look like. Of course, I lost some of my Cleco fastening spots, but it fits right down in there nicely now. I've got a good butt weld to go here. I got a little patch to make there, but that's no big deal. So yeah, this is obviously still, not where it needs to be yet, but it's getting close. We've got a little more wumping work to do over there. You can see what that side looks like. Again, we're not trying to be factory perfect. We are just doing our best to make something that's reasonably respectable and resembles what the factory did. We've obviously got a lot of finishing up to do, but I think you understand the context that I don't like to go ahead and solid weld everything in right away. I probably did more back there than I actually should have, but I'm pretty confident back there that things are good. So it's going to be, nothing is going to be permanently attached here until we get the rest of that done. Will we be able to do that in one piece? Probably not. Who knows? Probably going to do it in two more pieces, which is, I think, where I started this episode. So little by little, we're gaining bite by bite. I think we've made some really good progress, and I've got a bunch of other stuff to deal with here in the shop, but I need a break. I'm tired, and that's as far as I'm going on stitches today. I got a nice sunny day out while the cars are out. I'm going to take advantage of it, but I got to go get some food. And well, you guys don't care about any of that. Drop it in the comments. What do you think? How's it turning out so far? I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. And little by little, bite by bite, here we go. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that because it helps out everybody else here. We're on the face thing. Instagramma, she loves us too, /mycarshop. Drop comments down there. Hit that like button. The more feedback you give, the more the algorithm pushes us up and helps us become more successful at what we do. That's going to do it. And one more thing. Don't forget, rock!